Check this out for a bait. We're gonna go big today. Oh, I've reached right up into the gum tree and check that out. Unbelievable. Another absolutely perfect morning out here this morning. As you've seen, I've got 4 traps in already and we've got a mixture of baits. We've got lamb bones, tuna and pork fat, and this last trap here I've doubled up. Check it out. We're going with a big lamb joint and a tin of tuna and the absolutely perfect looking spot. We've got some reeds, an overhanging gum tree and a steep grassy bank. Now if that isn't a winning combination, I don't know what is. But anyway, we'll get this last trap in and we'll go for a wander down the creek. I found a nice few little spots we can sit with a line and test the joint out. Let's get into it. I was being so careful on that last trap not to spill that tuna everywhere, and guess what happened? The last minute, I tipped the trap over, tuna juice all over me and through the bloody boat. Oh dear. I'd say I'm gonna attract a few flies today. Check this out for a bait. We're gonna go big today. Look at the rod. I'm not gonna go casting it out. All I'm gonna do is just drop it straight down. And it's going to be absolutely impossible to tell if there's anything on that. I'd almost guarantee one thing: if there's any decent yabbies in this area, they're going to make their way to that big chunk of lamb bone. This is the little spot I've pulled up. I probably should have filmed on the way in so you could have a decent perspective, but we've got some reeds there and a really grassy bank. I don't know how good it's going to show. Let's just see if we can have a bit of a look, but there seem to be yabby holes all through it. It's definitely not ideal being in this kayak this morning. That wind's blowing me around and it's been probably 3 minutes and I'm going to have an inpatient check of our lamb bone just to see what's happening down there. And it's going to be impossible to tell if there's anything on there. As I said before, I'm just going to have to scoop blind and hope for the best. That kayak's going to swing around. No, it's not. It's going to sit perfectly. What do we got? Well, we've got one baby. I think I'll just keep him. Oh, there's actually a little fish in there as well. We'll check that out in a minute. I actually got a little spangled perch on that check. We'll let him go. Hopefully this little fella's big brother comes along. It's only small, but it's a good sign because they are here. I don't know whether I said earlier, but I've never actually put the kayak in this creek. I've driven past it a few times. I had a bit of a go here probably about 2 years ago, and didn't really do any good, to be honest with you. I think we may have got a couple of yabbies at best. But I thought, I was driving past and I thought we might as well pull in here and give it a good crack. We've got a mix of baits. I've spread the traps right out, put them in some different looking areas. We'll give this lamb bone a good shake. I think I will try and leave those traps. Oh no. I've just moved that bait. Gribbling on, not paying attention. What's on the lamb bone? Ooh, it did feel like something just either pulled back and let go or hit at it. Probably another spangled perch. What have we got? Oh yes, I got something. Got something. Getting bigger, getting bigger. Still not a monster. I've changed our position. I was back behind us, only about 3 meters. I've decided to push the nose hard up into this kabungi weed, and it should hold me still. I was having trouble back there. You're probably not going to be able to tell unless I point it onto a tree, but the bloody wind's blowing again. No word of a lie, working in the sun all week, you'd hardly get a breath of wind. Put the kayak in the water, what happens? It's gonna blow up. But anyway, we'll get our big lamb bone back down there. Let him have a soak. I'll give it 2 5-minute soaks, so it's been 5 minutes. We'll have a check. If there's nothing or only a small 1 or 2 on there, I'll give it another 5. And then if we don't get any decent yabbies after that, we will keep moving and find another spot. We've got to, oh, what the hell? Oh, I said a decent 1 or 2, but we've got 4 yabbies. Well, that wasn't a bad check for 5 minutes. 4 yabbies, straight up. Nothing of any size though. I probably wouldn't even call those mediocre. There's one in there that's, you know, this big. I'll give it another 5 minutes. If we haven't got something reasonably big, we'll move spots. We're gonna go in for our second check. I've actually made myself a bit of room here and moved the bucket towards the back. It's not going to be easy to get the yabbies into, but it's given me a bit of leg room. And what I'm thinking is, if we haven't got something really decent on here to change my mind, we're going to have to keep moving. And it looks like one small one, one mediocre yabby. So we're going to go and see if we can find where the monsters are hanging out. He's not even really worth getting out and having a proper look at. Straight in the bucket behind me. What I might do, actually, I've got one trap there on the edge of this grass bank and another one right down the end of that grass bank. But the very last trap, that's the end of the hole, sort of goes around there into like a really narrow, shallow looking area, which may even be worth throwing a line right up in this neck just for shits and giggles. But what I was in the middle of saying, I do have a trap on this gum tree and it's probably been half an hour. So what I'm thinking is we might even have an impatient check just to see how we've done, and depending on how we've done, make a decision whether we go through and check the traps, because none of the baits are in the bait holders, so they'll get in and get a feed and get back out. So I'll probably want to be keeping a bit of an eye on them. Oh, I've reached right up into the gum tree and holy Jesus, you're kidding me. Oh, well, I did not expect that at all. Oh my God. This is the one that I really did load up with bait. And I've got a real traffic jam here because I've got stuff everywhere. And I'm gonna have to sort through these and make sure none have any eggs. But, my goodness me. I didn't expect that. And I've got myself in a real pickle here because I'm wedged up under this gum tree. I've got me rod and scoop just sitting here where my bucket's got to go, and a net loaded up with yabbies. And there's some nice ones in here too. After getting those mediocre fellas, I was thinking I wasn't going to do much good. And I've only got the little white bucket. What am I going to do here? I think they're all just going to have to go in the little white bucket, and we're going to have to go through and check all these traps, I think. Check that out. Unbelievable. Some nice yabbies in amongst them too. I'm really going to have to bite the bullet here, paddle all the way back to the ute. I'm all the way down the end of the hole. Empty this bucket, get the esky, check these traps. What I'm thinking is, bugger it, I'm going to check this trap just to make sure that wasn't a fluke, so I'm not wasting my time. It's going to be a bit of a show if it is full. I'm going to have to try and pick some more grass and get some more water into that bucket, but I think it's going to be worth it. If this one here has half as many yabbies in it, we're going to really have to go back and get the bigger bucket, which is a pretty good problem to have, I reckon. Oh, I can see a few in there. Not quite as good as the last trap, but still a fairly reasonable trap all the same. Oh, look out. We're tangled up. We're tangled up. This trap here is actually going to be moved a fair distance. And not something I planned, but that's the way it worked out. It was about probably 5 meters under that gum tree. And just out of being blown around and unable to do anything about it, it's been moved down, which probably isn't a bad thing. And given that result, that bucket is well overcrowded. We're going to have to go back, get the bigger bucket. Oh, there's some big yabby holes along this bank here. This little area was a nice looking spot, but I sort of wanted to keep that little bay free because I was going to pull up there for line. I don't know whether we'll get a chance now. I'm going to hit my bag limit before we even check the first run of the traps by the go of this. I've been back to the ute, ditched the rod and the net, emptied the bucket, and this wind is really starting to blow up now. You can always nearly put money on it that it's going to blow up the day that you want to go yabbieing. And I'm going to come in straight on top of this trap, and the wind's going to blow me straight over it. Bugger, bugger, straight over top of it. God, it makes it difficult. God, it wants to make it difficult, doesn't it? God, fighting the wind. Fighting the wind. Oh, and it just get a bit of headway and it wants to blow you back again. Oh, now my bucket's in the way, I can't put my oar up. Lucky it's not a drop net or I would have scared Oh no! That trap is wedged underneath the kayak. Bugger of a thing. Well, that was a real fail, that one. Oh, you're kidding me. That was a real fail. I tell you what, Definitely wasn't meant to be easy. We do have a load of yabbies, but on the upside, we've definitely got a loaded trap. I think I'm going to have to get rid of these traps here because those other triangle ones seem to hold in really well. These ones here, not so well. I've covered myself in mud again. And there you go. That's how not to check a yabbie trap. God, what a bloody schmozzle that was. I'm just looking in the trap here though, and we've got some nice yabbies, surprisingly. Check that out. That wind's wanting to blow and tip the net upside down. Got some really nice yabbies in that lot. I was going to be a little bit picky and just pick a few of the big ones out and let the rest go, because I think I had a count and we've got well over 50 in the esky already. I was going to, but this wind situation is not going to make it easy. I've already got the bucket full of water and grass, and hopefully they're going into the bucket because I can't really see what I'm doing. I'm going to pick, oh there we go, look at that. That's why you always check one with eggs, and that's probably, I haven't seen many with eggs this year, so that's a prime example of a female with eggs. So we let her go gently back into the water. Yabbies for the future generations. I've kept about a half a dozen of the best out of that trap. I don't know. Oh, he got me out of the corner, the little bugger. I'm going to let them go. I'm just going to put that trap back in there for now. I bet you I know what will happen. I'm going to fight this wind all the way up here. I'm going to get to the end and it's going to change direction. I'm going to have to fight it all the way back. I don't know whether I just got that on camera or not, but there was a big fish just swirled there. Oh, look at this. You stop rowing for 2 seconds and push you backwards. I'm going to try and get into this trap a little bit better than the last one. And I did fail to mention that first trap had pork fat, pork skin, whatever you want to call it. Just because we had some in the freezer, I thought I'd test it out. I think I'm straight on top of the trap again. And it did work, obviously. Straight on top of the trap. Yeah. Considering what we've been getting, not particularly great, although there is a couple of nice ones. Here's a nice yabby. Another nice one. I'll get the 2 nice ones out and let the rest go. And here's a male too. So the 2 nice ones were males. I'm not even going to bother tipping them out. I'm just going to sit that trap back in there. And we'll go and check our last trap that we haven't checked yet. And I don't know whether I might leave them another 15 and do a final check just to see whether there's any big ones in here. We haven't really got anything that I would call huge, but the traps have been loaded, so it's a bit of a trade-off, I guess. Where are we? Where are we? Oh yeah, I forgot where I put the trap for a second. It's a fair way down yet. Oh, look at that for a perfect entry. Oh, yes. There's one in there that he's a nice yabby. He is an absolute banger, this one. We've at least got one that I'd call big. He's nice. And the rest of them are not small. There's a few in there that are rather large actually. Come on, mate. Ooh. After careful consideration, I've decided I'm going to keep all these because there's about 10 yabbies in there, and they're all probably bigger than what I've been getting, and no eggs. It's almost a waste of time throwing that trap back in. That tuna's all but eaten. We'll put it back in for now. This is the trap that was loaded before, but it's only been, what the heck? It's only been probably 15 minutes, and we've got another probably 15, 20 yabbies. I think I definitely hit the sweet spot when I put it here. I'm going to be real picky. There's probably one in there that I'm going to keep, and I'm going to let the rest go. And I'll give you a look at him. He's a nice yabbie. He's got himself wedged right up in the corner. We're going to get him out, if I can, without getting eaten. Check that out. Here's a nice one. He's going into the bucket. There's actually two in this trap that I'm going to have to keep if I can get it out without being bitten. And if it is a male, it's a male. It's his unlucky day because he's not a monster, but he's nice, clean yabby. A little bit rusty. He's going to be full of meat. He's going to have to go in the bucket. And the rest of these are going back. There's probably a dozen yabbies. We'll put them back in the drink. We've got enough for today. Back you go. I've just paddled backwards just to give you some perspective on where I had that trap. I think I showed it at the very start, but it's absolutely perfect spot. Kabungi weed each side. We've got a little narrow neck here. An overhanging grass bank with overhanging tree. And now I'm sitting back looking, I can see all the yabby holes along the bottom of that bank. I think we must have got probably 50 yabbies in 2 checks of the traps. And I'm just looking at this bank here, in this narrow neck. It's loaded with yabby holes too. Which I'm not going to worry about today. We'll go back and get the rest of these traps, I think, after that little exercise. This is the one that I inadvertently moved. Got blown by the wind and ended up putting it upstream about 5 metres. We'll see if it made a difference. There's bubbles. There's bubbles. Given the fact that it's probably been 15 minutes at the very, very most, there's 7 yabbies in there, which is pretty dang good, I think. Guess what? There's no monsters, so they're going back into the drink to grow a little bit more for next year. I'm nearly thinking if we probably really want to come out here and give the place a little bit of a hammering, take a couple of 100. I'm not going to do it today because we're not really planning on having a great big feed. Thinking there might be too many yabbies in here, it's not giving them a chance to grow. I don't know. I'm definitely no expert, that's for sure. But these ones are going back for today. This is the triangle design I was talking about. They sort of just slot into each other. They seem to hold together better than these square designed ones. These square ones just got a little tiny clip to clip onto each other, and they have let go on me a few times. These ones here, not so much. This trap here, I'm really not expecting anything out of it. I checked it about 2 minutes ago, and it's the one with the tin of tuna in it that is basically empty. There was a few little specks of tuna sitting in the bottom. But miracles do happen, I guess. Oh, I do have one. He can go straight back. That actually had one. Oh, and there's a little shrimp in there. Make sure he gets back. Oh, we're motivating. I've got the wind pushing me. Well, there you go. There you go. That trap wouldn't have been in 5 minutes. We just checked these. I rode down, picked these other traps up. 10 minutes at the most, and 10 yabbies. No real monsters, so they can all go back. Yeah, this is the little clip that I was talking about. Hopefully I've got yours in frame here. It's just this little tiny clip. It's a waste of bloody time. Ever so slightly. And look at this. I'm going to drift around and time it perfectly. Come straight over. What the heck? Now that is really unbelievable. Wouldn't have been 10 minutes. And it's probably got 20 yabbies in there. Unbelievable. We're actually fairly well motivating down the creek. I don't know how well it's going to show on camera. Those bigger gum trees in the distance there are bending over and really getting blown about. I think since that's the last trap, I'm going to keep all them, and they can just stay in the trap until we get back to base camp, which isn't far away, and we're not going to take long to get there at this speed. Perfect. Well, that was well and truly a successful mission, I would say. There's only one problem. I forgot the seat for the kayak. Well, I didn't actually forget it. I left it out on purpose. I thought I'd just sit in the kayak. And as a result, I don't know how well it's going to show on camera, but I'm absolutely saturated. I've got an absolutely saturated backside. And you can tell how much that wind's blowing up now. Oh, you can nearly bank on it. I'm definitely not complaining about the wind, because I don't know whether it's brought the yabbies out or not, but we've ended up with some bloody bucket load of nice ones. There's still 10 good yabbies in there, but I think I'm going to let them go. The esky's full, and that bucket's loaded with good sized yabbies. There's only big ones in here. I've got my work cut out for me today. Check this out. Look at this. Ended up with a half esky full of yabbies. I'm going to keep swapping that water out, fresh rainwater, probably every hour or two for 6 hours minimum. I'll get them all processed. I'm not going to show the whole cooking part. If you want to see, I'm basically only going to boil them, peel the tails. All the hard work is done. I've got the seagull with me today. She smelt the yabbies and come out, but she's not getting any just yet. We're going to do something a little bit different, like I said. And we ended up with a fair plate full of yabbies. She may have 1 or 2 left over if she's lucky. What we're going to be doing is a very simple pickle. I'll give you a bit of a rundown of what we're doing, how to do it, but don't take any notice of me, because I've basically just, it's very simple, and I've just Googled what to do. So we've got 100 ml of water, got approximately 200 ml of vinegar, and that's balsamic vinegar, and it's a really nice one. I don't know whether it's the right one to use. I probably should have Googled that, but I didn't. So we're going to go with it. It actually smells pretty good, and we got the chef here. She wants to do it. So all we're going to do is tip all the vinegar into the water. And I'll soon tell if it's 200 mils because it'll go up to 300. And this recipe is basically what they call 3-2-1, a 3-2-1 brine or pickle. We're just going to go with a cold pickle. We're going to make them up, put them in the fridge for a few days, and then taste them basically. See how good they are.
Why is it black?
Because balsamic vinegar is black. And that is almost perfect. I reckon it's a 250 ml bottle, and I've already used a bit out of it. I reckon it was going to be about 200 mils on the dot, and it's worked out perfect. So that's your 3 parts vinegar, 2 parts water, 1 part sugar. That's just white sugar. I'm guessing you probably should use brown sugar, but we haven't got any, so
yes, we do.
White sugar it is, do we? It's too late now because it's in there. And half amount again of salt. So that was 50 grams sugar, 25 salt, and that's all we're going to do. Yeah, mix it up. Oh no, it's not all we're going to do actually. Because I decided at the last minute, I went and picked a calamansi. It's a Filipino citrus, and they're extremely strong. And I reckon it'd add a nice bit of freshness to it. I was gonna just do just a straight vinegar, sugar, salt, just so it was just a basic plain pickle. Then I decided at the last second, we'll add the juice of 1 calamansi, and these ones here are particularly big for a calamansi and particularly juicy, so one's going to be heaps.
So they're like lemons.
You said it. You just said it. They're both, yeah, like she said, they're a type of lime, but they're really strong. And that's going to add a fair bit of citrusy flavour to it, I think. Well, chef, we'll get the chef to mix it up until it's all dissolved. So we'll probably cut this bit because it's going to take a few minutes. The old master chef here's got it all dissolved. It was a pretty hard task, but she's managed to do it. And I had a little bit of a taste test, and it's particularly strong. So I think it's going to pickle whatever we put in it, which is going to be the yabbies. We've got our jar. I did boil this jar, just put it in a saucepan with water, boiled the hell out of it to try and sterilise it a bit. I don't know whether you really need to do that with a cold pickle, but I done it anyway, just in case. And we've got all our yabbies. I ended up cooking 50 and peeling them really well. Like I said, none of them were really big. There was a couple of big ones in there. I don't know where they are, but they're in there somewhere. There was a couple of good size yabbies. Yeah, in a minute. Just slow down, one thing at a time. He's grabbing for the sauce already. What you got to do, you got to put all your yabbies in the jar. Away you go. And I'd probably cut that bit out because she's taken forever to fill that jar, but I just thought oh, that's strong. I just copped a whiff of the fumes coming off that, and nearly choked me. But as I was saying, that's one of the bigger tails. We'll jam him in there. What we ended up with, Nelly, you can have one. I was going to say it was going to work out dead on perfect. But I think we're going to be 1 yabby short. There's a little space in there that would take 1 more yabby. But the old bloody seagull over here is going to eat it up. And it's as simple as just pouring the mixture into the jar. All the way to the top. All the way. All the way. That'll, a little bit more. And I reckon get it right to the top so there's not much air in there. Close the lid. Like I said, it's not going to be a pickle that you sit in the jar for months and months. It's only going to sit in the fridge. I would not recommend not refrigerating it. Set it in the fridge, give it a little bit of a stir every day or so. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. Catch you on the next one.